Hello, I'm Huaiying, and the topic of my thesis is research on operation mode and architectural environment of chain community senior care stations in Beijing, a case study of 6 core districts. The reason for choosing this topic is that, on the one hand, compared with elderly care centers and institutions, Beijing community senior care stations are smaller in scale and can be better embedded in the community. And chain operation is also a development change in the future. Nearly 80% of the stations of Beijing have realized chain operation. On the other hand, I began to think about architecture with a more systematic thinking during the year I exchanged online at TU Berlin. So this time, I want to make an attempt to explore what kind of usage and operational needs architectural environment should meet, so as to guide the design of the stations. Elderly daycare facility is a facility that mainly provides daycare services for the elderly in the community, and it is called Community Senior Care Station in Beijing, and I think it's something like the Tagespflege Einrichtung in Germany. The combination of station and chain operation mode is the object of my research, the Chain Community Senior Care Station. The research includes operation mode and architectural environment. I hope to find the root causes affecting architectural environment of the stations through the analysis of typical chain operation modes. And the main data comes from the mapping survey on the construction and operation of community-based elderly care facilities in Beijing in 2020. And I limited the scope of research to 6 core districts of Beijing because the architectural forms of stations in the suburbs differ greatly from those in 6 core districts. The first 2 parts of the thesis are the overall data analysis, including the overall situation of stations and the comparison analysis of chain and independent stations, which can provide a preliminary understanding of the characteristics of chain stations. The next part is an in-depth analysis of the chain operation mode and its correlation with architectural environment, combining information from the official website and research interviews. The whole research process includes preliminary data analysis with SPSS and GIS, data screening of chain stations, as well as brand information collection on online websites and offline research interviews. The final result is a database of 12 chain brands and their 96 stations, as well as in-depth interview results of 6 stations. The 12 brands includes 2 state-owned enterprises, Chenhejing and Huafeng, and 8 private enterprises, including Qingmeng, Mingying Hongxin, and CAJ, and 2 non-profit organizations, Leling and Longzhen. Among these 12 brands, except for Chenhejing, which has more than 100 stations in Beijing, the number of stations of other brands is around 10 to 20. Next are the specific research results, starting with the current situation of stations in Beijing. There are 3 main types of policy subsidies: construction subsidies, operation subsidies, and preferential policies, such as enjoying resident prices for water and electricity. The relevant document stipulates 6 basic services of stations: daycare, catering service, health guidance, psychological guidance, cultural and recreational activities, one-click call service. But various services such as elderly tourism have been extended. Although the service contents are rich and diverse, the overall situation is not optimistic. In terms of land use and building type, the number of stations has increased significantly in recent years, but more than 90% of stations are rebuilt or expanded from original buildings, and 70% of stations are located in old residential areas or historical districts with restricted building conditions, and the gross floor area is small. In terms of distribution, there is uneven distribution of independent and chain stations. In summary, station number is growing continuously, but most of the stations still face many problems, such as uneven distribution, restricted building conditions, and unpromising service situation. Next is the comparison analysis of chain and independent stations. In addition to the policy subsidies mentioned before, chain stations can obtain special chain operation subsidy, and they actually enjoy better government subsidies. In terms of operation, more private entities are involved in the investment and operation of chain stations, so the degree of marketization is higher, and chain stations have more cooperation with medical institutions, and the exclusion of services is higher. In terms of profit and loss, the operating cost of chain stations is much lower than independent stations. However, the loss situation has not improved. According to the information obtained from field interviews, it may be because some brands do not have station check-in services and have higher decoration standards, and the income of door-to-door service and the catering service belongs to the head office, and the station only plays a docking role. In terms of services, chain stations have longer operating hours and a larger number of contracted elderly people. Catering service and station check-in service are carried out more effectively. However, the external services are not so desirable, maybe also because the service team are sent by head office, not the stations. In terms of architectural environment, chain stations have a larger public space and a larger number of bedrooms with nursing. However, the proportion of kitchens in chain station is relatively low, but the average area is relatively larger. It is suspected that there are cases of shared kitchens among neighboring stations. In summary, chain stations are better than independent stations in terms of obtaining policy subsidies, reducing operation costs, developing in-facility services, external cooperation, and comprehensive space utilization. So chain operation mode has promotion value. The fifth part is about chain operation modes. According to the station operation network, from the perspective of the supply side, the operation organization, the chain mode can be divided into pure station and station plus. And from the perspective of demand side, the service content, it can be divided into non-residence type and residence type. The pure station mode focuses on the station business, and the operator will not only make more efforts to build more stations, but also has higher requirements on the building environment and service quality. Operators often expand their service scenarios outward through self-development or seeking cooperation, such as a central kitchen for the elderly was built jointly by Cheng Hejing and a well-known restaurant brand. The pure station mode also forms internal mutual assistance platform, such as Longzhen's team of nursing assistants, who constantly move between senior care stations, institutions, and stations. And when the chain mode is relatively complete, the mode will be exported externally to expand the influence of the brand. Stations in Station Plus mode are more like branches or diversion stores, and operating organizations already have mature businesses, such as housekeeping and pension finance. For example, Ainong and Minyi Hongxin are originally housekeeping companies, which have accumulated many suppliers' resources. They use stations as designated distribution stores to carry out catering services for the elderly and support housekeeping. The station plus cultural tourism plus finance mode involves a much larger senior care industry chain, and the representative brand is Lao Wu Lao. And the stations are used as offline stores to attract people to other core business. Although all non-residence type stations all provide daytime services, each brand have their own focus. 成和境 mode stations mainly serve as a daytime activity station for the elderly, focusing on cultural and sports activities. While 明仪红星 mode stations are mainly used as a comprehensive service station, integrating supplier resources and carry out various convenience services such as dining tables for the elderly, offline delivery, and housekeeping. There are also other typical modes, such as combined recovery and nursing mode, combined medical and nursing mode, and elderly and children coexistent mode. The resident type can also be divided into two modes. 青盟 mode focuses on stations check-in services and usually choose units of a residential building to create a family atmosphere. But at the same time, the living room space is limited, so daytime activities are restricted. 乐龄 mode has equal emphasis on day activities and station check-in service, with larger space for public activities. Almost all of the modes above rely on the internet to assist their operation and improve efficiency and expand service scenarios through smart management platform, pension resource platform, and innovative electronic services. Next is the correlation analysis between architectural environment and operation mode. Except for the state-owned enterprise brand 成和境, whose stations are evenly distributed in all districts. Stations of same brand are always in the same district and same block. It is because of returning customer effect and Hertzmeer effect. For example, Longzhen stations are laid out around care centers, sharing service teams and forming a 3 km diameter station plus center service circle. Hongfengying stations are laid out around the central kitchen, sharing meals and forming a 3 km diameter station plus central kitchen delivery circle. And the CAJ stations in Gymnasium roadblock are laid out around the station with a large kitchen, sharing meals and forming a 1 km diameter station plus station delivery circle. In terms of building type, 成和境 mode stations mostly use small and medium community auxiliary facilities. 明仪红星 mode stations mostly use community auxiliary facilities and first floor residential building. 青盟 mode stations mostly use a medium or large unit in a residential building. And 乐龄 mode station mostly use medium and large community auxiliary facilities. In terms of program, according to the analysis of 96 stations, there are differences in the program of stations in different operation modes. 成和境 mode stations use multifunctional activity room as the main space. The proportion of space area for cultural and sports activities can even reach 80%. 明仪红星 mode stations place more emphasis on communal dining hall and kitchens. 青盟 mode stations follow the family program arrangement type, and 乐龄 mode stations place equal emphasis on daily activity space and bedroom with nursing. However, 爱农 in the station plus housekeeping mode will give priority to setting up communal dining hall, while 乐龄 in the pure station mode will give priority to setting up multifunctional activity rooms. And combined medical and nursing mode provides additional medical rooms. Elderly and children coexistent mode provides additional rooms and spaces for children activities. In terms of internal function, multifunctional activity room, including reception space, has two main types, corridor type and centralized type, and it is always near the entrance and exit. Multifunctional activity room often has centralized layout, and it prefers to use table combination to make the space available for multiple programs and maximize space utilization. Dining tables are evenly placed, spaced in communal dining hall, and dining area is close to kitchen for convenient access to the food. Small rooms and large multi-person rooms are the most common room types for bedroom with nursing, and the room layout is concentrated or clustered around communal activity rooms. Toilet or shower room with nursing can be scattered or concentrated together to form a cluster. In terms of interior and exterior environmental atmosphere, train stations not only use serialized furniture and consistent environmental color and unified logo system to create a consistent overall atmosphere and build a brand image, but also pay attention to individuals' territorial distinction. For example, one of Chenghejing Station is located in a historic district, and it preserves the original appearance of the courtyard. In a conclusion, train operation mode is particularly suitable for promotions, and there is a matching relationship between operation mode and the architectural environment. The demand side on the left side of this diagram and the supply side on the right side jointly influence architectural environment of the stations. Taking Leling mode in the middle of the diagrams as an example, the representative brands are Leling, Ainong, and Hongfengying. They have both station check-in and daytime services, so they need medium and large community auxiliary facilities. While Leling, the brand, belongs to pure station mode, so it prioritizes multifunctional activity rooms, while Ainong and Hongfengying brands belongs to station plus modes, so they prioritize communal dining hall. And there are some advice. In terms of operation, the operating organizations can use internet to assist operation and learn from the pure station mode to form an external collaboration platform and an internal mutual assistance platform. And they should enhance the level of standardization. In terms of architectural environment, operating organizations should have a comprehensive consideration while designing each station. For example, while choosing the location, they should have a comprehensive understanding of building type, building size to match the services, and highlight brand characteristics. These are the contents of my defense. Thanks for watching.